welcome to Doctor Who Season 7. Brad's thoughts. Basically, just giving my thoughts on the 7th season of Doctor Who. With the introduction of the 3rd Doctor, as well as his return to Earth, we have some interesting things to talk about this season. Like the fact that now everything is in color. No joke, finally, everything is in color, which is cool. We have the new Doctor, portrayed by Jonathon Pertwee, and his struggle, living on Earth now. For those who may not have seen Season 6, or just jumping on the bandwagon at Season 7 for whatever reason, basically, at the end of Season 6, with Patrick Troughton's last arc, the Doctor met up with the Council of Gallifrey, and basically they exiled him to Earth because of his interference in time and space, doing what the Doctor says is good, because apparently the people of Gallifrey are merely observers of time. Like the Watchers in the Marvel Universe. Basically, they will see things and they will record history, but they do not interfere. And because the Doctor's interfered so many times, well, some people have gotten a little upset about that. So he's been exiled to Earth and forced to regenerate, so that there's no issue with, hey, I remember you from when Yetis attacked the subway back in 1966 or so. It's like, because that actually happened. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get right into it. Starting off with arc synopsis. So, real quick, the season only had 4 major story arcs. And basically, I'll give a quick summary of each and give my verdict on whether it's worth a watch, is kind of interesting, or is just outright skippable. To start, we have the Spearhead from Space, which of course starts with the Doctor landing on Earth and stumbling out of the TARDIS. Luckily for him, he is in London once again. It seems like he's kind of drawn there, so no big surprise there. But very fortunately for him, he lands near a unit investigation of strange meteorites, crashing down in this area. Basically, these weird things are like clear plastic, and they've just been showing up recently, so UNIT is investigating because last time we had strange invaders, we had some issues, unfortunately. So they find the Doctor near the TARDIS. Lethbridge Stewart vouches for him. They take him in. They do some medical examinations, and they figure something interesting out. The Doctor's biology is a bit different than ours. Basically, 2 hearts, the slower heart rate, and his blood is certainly not human blood. So that's interesting. Meanwhile, these strange plastic meteors that keep crashing down to the Earth are apparently the first wave of an invasion force meant to colonize the entire planet. So not only are they dealing with the strange Doctor showing up on the Earth, but they also have to deal with these strange orbs that herald an invading force meant to take over. So definitely worth a watch. I really enjoyed it because, we get to learn a bit more about the Doctor. As well as, I just like the interesting villain for this arc. So, definitely worth a watch. Check it out. Moving on to our 2nd arc, Doctor Who and the Silurians. The Doctor and one of his new companions, Liz, are summoned to an underground research facility. Basically, this place has been working with nuclear power to create, essentially unlimited energy. But for the past 3 months, roughly, the system has been leaking energy consistently. So, I don't know how you would measure that power, but basically, hey, we're 95% of what we should be. We're 95% what we should be for the last couple of months. So, yeah. Also, recently several of the scientists that worked on this site were attacked by strange reptilian creatures down in the underground caverns. And honestly, this arc is so interesting and crazy because it essentially boils down to, serious issues of trust between humans who already rule the Earth and the Silurians, these people who used to live on the Earth's surface and went underground for their own personal reasons and are now coming back to Earth. And basically, the Doctor tries brokering peace between the two groups, but there are some things that come up and complicate the situation. Again, I don't want to get into it, but it's definitely interesting. It's definitely worth a watch. Check it out for sure. Next up, we have the Ambassadors of Death. The Doctor and Liz are called into Space Central, basically, British NASA, because there is some issue with the return trip of a spaceship that had gone to Mars. No joke, Mars in 1970, like the Red Planet, with astronauts aboard. They're coming back, and for some odd reason, we've lost communication with them. And whenever we do get anything back from them, it's a strange, loud, tone. And it just, yeah, it's weird. And basically, this just leads to a bigger, long, convoluted, conspiracy involving criminals, higher-ups within the government, and just so much crazy stuff. And I would say in the end, it's definitely worth it. But for this one, I'm kind of torn because, I have some parallels to Doctor Who and the Silurians, dealing with an alien race, trying to broker peace, etc. And just the convoluted mystery really annoys the crap out of me. Because, yeah, it's interesting, but it's also, oh, hey, this person is willing to talk to us about the stuff. Sorry, that stuff was a lie. Or, sorry, that person just got murdered literally 2 seconds ago before you just saw them. It's annoying. And it definitely shows that, 7 episodes for Doctor Who arcs can be a bit long. But, the first 2 arcs, the Spearhead from Space and Doctor Who and the Silurians, show that if you do it well enough, you can certainly do 7 episodes. But this one, it just felt like some things were dragged out, and I didn't care as much for it. So, you can watch it, but honestly, if you skip it, there's no major issue. And we have the 4th and final arc of the season, the Inferno. The Doctor and Liz are working close to a site that is going to crack the Earth's surface for the very first time in Earth's history. Basically, the Doctor, this entire season, in the background has been fiddling with the TARDIS because the Council took away, the secrets of time travel from him, and so he's trying to figure out how to make the TARDIS work again so that he can go, and be on his merry way. Because the Doctor can't just be stuck in one period of time. It's just who he is. Unfortunately, at this test site that, again, as I established, is going to break the Earth's crust for the first time ever, some complications occur. Like this strange green ooze that starts leaking out of one of the pipes that, when people come into contact with it, they become primal and very, heat. They need heat to survive. If they get, stuck in cold temperatures, they will die. But they also become feral monsters, and it's crazy. And basically, it's trying to deal with this situation. And in the midst of this, the Doctor, working on the TARDIS console, gets the TARDIS console to activate. However, he doesn't get to, travel through time and space. He gets to move sideways through time and space to a parallel Earth, where, honestly, pretty much the exact same thing is going on, except this Earth is slightly further ahead than our Earth. And he gets to see what happens when we actually do break the Earth's crust and have to deal with all these primal creatures. It's troubling, to say the least. And so now the Doctor has to struggle to repower the console, get back to our Earth, and hopefully prevent the drill from breaking the Earth's crust, because it honestly spelled doomsday on Earth too. And yeah, so definitely worth a watch. I say this because, number one, well, the main thing basically is just the, split between 2 Earths. Getting to see, Liz Shaw and Brigadier General Lethbridge Stewart on Earth too. It's interesting. They're definitely very different characters, and I'm not a big fan of how Earth has changed, because it's not good. But yeah, so I would definitely recommend this arc. It's interesting, it's got some crazy stuff going on. There is some fluff, with the primal monsters, they have nothing to do with anything, they're just there to create more conflict, unfortunately, and So yeah. So looking at the arcs, like I already talked about really quick, Spirit from Space, it introduces the Doctor. We get to learn a bit more about his physiology, as an alien wanderer. And also just the general mystery of what's going on with these plastic meteorites is interesting, so I liked it. Doctor Who and the Silurians. I like the conflict, because honestly the two societies are very peaceful, the Silurians and humanity. But some complications occur, and we have some serious issues, and I don't want to spoil how things work out, but yeah, it's not great. And one of the things that I really hate is we don't get to really talk about it. Like in the first episode of the Ambassadors of Death, like the Doctor says something casually, like, darn Lethbridge, we can learn so much from the Silurians, and that's it. Like how it ended, there should have been a serious conflict between the Doctor and Stewart, but there wasn't. And then the Inferno. Again, just the exploration of the two Earths idea. I really like that. Like, that was cool. Again, the monsters were just kind of fluff and filler, but, I thought the arc itself was interesting. And, again, looking at the Ambassadors of Death, it doesn't bring anything new or interesting, but if you're really into, this big, crazy conspiracy stuff, it's worth checking out, certainly. Like, I'm not saying it's bad, I'm just saying it frustrated me, because I'm here watching these things, taking notes, and then I'm having to go back through and, delete stuff or cross stuff out and say, oh, sorry, that apparently isn't relevant because that was a lie, or this person died. It's like, come on! So I may be a bit biased in this regard. And, of course, I just have some other thoughts. Really quick. Unfortunately for Carol and John, this would be her only season on Doctor Who. Because at the end of the season, Barry Letts, the casting director, I believe, decided not to renew her contract. Basically, he said, he felt that the character of Liz Shaw was too intellectual a character to be a good companion for the Doctor. And that annoys me. Because, honestly, I kid you not, Liz helped to save the Doctor's life in the very first arc of the season, Spearhead from Space. Basically, the Doctor is getting attacked by this weird tentacle monster that's coming out of a machine, and Liz and the Doctor had worked on, a device to, stop it. It wasn't working, and Liz was able to fix it and save the Doctor's life. In Doctor Who and the Silurians, she helped him to develop a vaccine to help save humanity from this disease that the Silurians released on us, because we had some serious issues with them. Like, she brought some stuff to the table, she was good, she was interesting, I liked her, and Barry Letts was just like, no, I'm out. So I do have to talk about, Carol and John and her life after Doctor Who. And honestly, it seems like it went well. She had 3 children. She acted pretty consistently. Honestly, looking at the Wikipedia page, her first role was, just a minor, side character, caught up, a school child caught up in a food fight in 1955. Then Doctor Who in 1970, and then pretty consistently, appearing in a number of episodes for different shows and movies, etc. Throughout pretty much the rest of her life. Up until 2012, when unfortunately she did pass away. And, Carol and John, or your children, if you see this, I think your mother did an awesome job. She was great as Liz. And I'm kind of annoyed that they dropped the character for season 8. But she did a good job, so thank you for that. And then, really quick, just my final thoughts for the season. Overall, this was a solid season. It was a good introduction for Jonathon Pertwee as a new Doctor. We had several good stories. Working every episode as, 7 episodes pretty much, except for the first arc, was kind of frustrating, but, it worked for the most part. So, definitely good, solid season. I also like, how we have the story going, where the Doctor is kind of forced into this situation, and he at least has the ally in Lethbridge Stewart. So, we may have left behind, you know, Hartnell and Troughton, but we're bringing back story elements, you know, like his work with Earth defending itself against alien invaders. Like, it works, and I like that. So, that was good on your part, writers. Thank you for doing that. Also, you know, Colonel Lethbridge Stewart, portrayed by Nicholas Courtney. Always an excellent job, sir. Keep it up. But, you know, overall, like, every story was interesting. Everyone played their part well, and it's just great. And now, you know, my initial impressions of the new Doctor. I figure with every season that we have a new Doctor, at the very end, I should take a minute and talk about my thoughts. So, what are my initial impressions of Mr. Pertwee as the third Doctor? Blah blah blah. Sorry. I'm somewhere in the middle at this point. Like, you know, on the positive side, I feel like he's a good fusion of Hartnell and Troughton. You know, he has the definite academic conduct and feel that Hartnell had, you know, throughout most of his time. And toward the end of Hartnell's era, you know, he was a bit more funny and made a few jokes. And, you know, what Troughton, and the part of Troughton that's in Pertwee's performance is definitely, you know, the more casual, silly at times. You know, and the caring. One of the things that I don't care for as much, though, is, like, for some of these story arcs, like, the Doctor has to be convinced or coerced into going to these dangerous spots. Like, you know, he'll get a letter, oh, you know, Colonel Lethbridge Stewart requests your presence at this location. And the Doctor's like, well, I don't care, I gotta work on my car. Bessie. The yellow car, which is funny and interesting, and I like that. Because one of the things that we get to see is we actually get to see the Doctor driving in London to, like, different places in his yellow car. So, like, really, if you were a kid in the 1970s, you could potentially see the Doctor driving, like, down your street or through downtown. It's crazy, and I like that. But, you know, so I think Jonathon Pertwee is definitely a good choice for the third Doctor. I'm just not liking that bit of the Doctor's character where he's like, well, I'm concerned with my own things. Like, dude, you know, you've pulled Stewart's butt out of the fire on several occasions as it is. If he is asking for your help, please help him out. So, you know, the whole planet doesn't get destroyed because the Yeti showed back up again, or the Daleks, God forbid, or the Cybermen show up. Which, we haven't seen Daleks in a while, and I'm curious to see them, like, honestly. Just saying. But I also do get the importance of getting the TARDIS back up and running, because, you know, he's traveled to different times and places, and he's helped to protect people and, you know, stop the Daleks and the Cybermen from doing bad things on other planets. You know, just while you're here, while you're stuck, you know, you can take a little break from your work every now and then, help us out, so we don't get obliterated. And again, just to reiterate, you know, I'm kind of annoyed with letting Carol and John go. Like, she was a good actress. I liked her character. I wish she could have been around more. She did do some more with, like, the radio productions and some other work later on in the Doctor Who series, but it would have been cool having her for, you know, like, a season or two. Not just, well, like, 2 or 3 seasons, not just one. And, you know, that's it for Season 7. Overall, I thought it was good. We had a nice introduction for Jonathon Pertwee. We had cool new characters. You know, and it was just fun overall. Now, I get to work on editing this video and doing all of my other fun work before I move on to Season 8. And trust me, I'm going to go through this as fast as I can, because I want to see what happens next. I want to know what's going on. So, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I will leave you with my classic closer. Have fun, stay safe, keep hydrated. Are you kidding me? Pat, wait, stop. I'm like literally right at the end of Doctor Who right now. Can you just wait there for a second? And I'll get to you when I get to you. Okay? Like literally 20 seconds. Sorry. Alright. Calm down. Deep breaths, deep breaths. Okay, I'll just, close it. Okay. Alright. So, that's it for Season 7, everyone. I really liked it. I really look forward to getting into Season 8. But, of course, I have to do all the editing and stuff for this before I can move on to that. So, I will leave you with my classic closing line. Have fun, stay safe, keep hydrated, and, of course, remember, every character has a story to tell. I'm Valiant Bradley James, character investigator. Peace. Okay, Pat, we're good now. You can come out. Pat? Okay, it's not funny to screw with me like this. And, I don't care for it. Oh, crap. You're not Pat.